How are you guys doing? I'm Mr. Nasty. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be doing the top 5 muscle cars to customize in GTA 5 for the next gen consoles. So if you guys do go on to enjoy the video, remember it's always greatly appreciated if you can help me out by dropping a like and or subscribing if you're new. Today's like goal is actually going to be 5 since we have 5 cars. I know it's a huge number. It's a long shot if we can actually reach it. The cars that you guys are seeing are actually from what people have tweeted me on Twitter, and I'll have them up in the top corner. So if you guys want a chance to be in next week's video, all you have to do is tweet at me saying Nasty's top 5. Also, keep in mind they are in no specific order, so do not get your panties in a wad. Other than that, let's jump right into it. So the first vehicle we have here is actually the Dukes. Now if you guys do not know, the Dukes is actually an exclusive DLC vehicle for the next gen console owners. It is by far one of the greatest muscle cars in the game. It was originally in GTA 4, where that's when I actually first noticed it personally. As you guys can see, fully upgraded, this thing is an absolute beast. Unfortunately, we cannot get the Duke of Death online, but this gameplay right here is recorded in single player for money purposes. Duke of Death is by far one of the greatest muscle cars in GTA 5, and I highly recommend you guys pick you up one if you haven't already. Now let's move on to car number 2, which is the Gauntlet. So as you guys can see from the Gauntlet right now, it has a few little tiny scratches on it, but that's okay, we can buff it out and make it look nice. But the Gauntlet is by far one of the coolest muscle cars in the game, and unfortunately it doesn't have that many upgrades on it, but it still looks nice when it is fully upgraded. From paint jobs, the rims, the underglow, whatever you guys want to add on to it, the car just looks mean itself, and as you guys can already tell, it has some massive power to it. Now if you guys can choose the right color scheme and right paint job style, or whatever you want to call it, you can make this car look completely badass and rule the streets with it. Tell me what you think about it. Let's move on to car number 3. Now for number 3, we actually had to improvise a little bit because I could not find a normal Dominator out on the road, but as you guys can tell, this thing is an absolute monster. It has the racing decals on it you can get in single player, as this is where it was actually recorded due to funds. Now the Dominator is actually one of the fastest muscle cars in the game at this point, in the muscle car category actually in the game, and fully upgraded this vehicle will overtake any car on the road, beating the Gauntlet and Dukes. This Dominator will absolutely rule the road. Now the engine sound is absolutely incredible. I wish you guys could hear it, but I'll let you guys actually get that in-game experience yourself. The handling is absolutely incredible on this, and this is by far one of my personal favorites. I can highly recommend if you guys purchase it, you will not be disappointed. This car is an absolute sexual monster, and unfortunately we got to move on to car number 4. Now for car number 4, unfortunately we had some technical difficulties, and I had to go into my multiplayer game and grab this directly from my garage, so that automatically shows I automatically like this vehicle. And unfortunately for some reason it's classified in the sports class, maybe because it's so freaking upgraded, as this is a super sport version of it, aka Franklin's version. But in my category and in my video, I'm going to classify this as a muscle car, as this thing rumbles when it drives, dominates the streets other than the Dominator itself, and is also one of the fastest muscle cars. Now if I had to choose between this vehicle and the Dominator, I'll choose the Dominator over the engine sound and the style of it, and this would come runner up right in second. This Buffalo is one of a kind, and I highly recommend you guys get it in your garage. Now let's go ahead and see what we have for car number 5. For lucky number 5, not really, we have the Sabre GT. Now this car is gonna run up number 3 in my book, maybe even 4, I can't really tell you. It's kinda hard to actually judge if all these vehicles in here are all my favorite, but the Sabre GT fully upgraded looks like an absolute beast. From the roll cages, the underglow, the engine sticking out of the top, the rims, the smoke, the wheelie bar, this car just has it all. The speed is great, the handling is great, it definitely deserves a spot here in this top 5, and hopefully you guys can agree. The Sabre GT, I remember seeing it in San Andreas, as well as in GTA 4, but GTA 5 really tops it off. Still one of my favorite vehicles, and I think it gave a good top to this video in today's episode of the top 5 cars to customize or use in GTA 5 Online. Now, if you guys would actually like to tell me what vehicles you would like to use, all you have to do is tweet at me at Nasty'sLive telling me the vehicle you'd like to see in next week's episode. I'd like to continue this series as much as possible, so next week hopefully we can do supercars. Just tweet me with your favorite supercar, I'll take the most selected famous option and put it in next week's episode. Other than that, I guess it's pretty much well it for this one. I'm interested in hearing your opinions and thoughts below, and try not to be too harsh with my customs that I did put on the vehicles. With that said, I'm Mr. Nasty, and I'm out.